going to mark up with my fingers. So something that's flat, the back of your mat, that you can use as a surface. So that as we start to get into some of the lateral work today against the wall, it'd be really useful to feel some of the ways that the lat chain connect and contract concentrically, and then how they expand eccentric contraction. So if you're just jumping in, we're going to find a wall, and you can see what I'm doing here, playing traffic hop with my feet together, my arm extended, creating a right angle, the extended arm and the same side leg, and then stepping into the wall with the leg nearest and just sliding the arm up the wall. So as people drift in, they can just join into the fun of lateral wall work. So think about all the things you do laterally. Now, if you were a skater, a rollerblader, or a ice skater, then doing this movement to the side gives you some of the work in the hips and also some of the abuse, sadly, that those sports allow. And then nobody does the breaststroke anymore, right? In the water, or the side stroke rather. But that one is really good for that whole lengthening of the lateral and strengthening of the lateral chain. So all muscular actions have a primary movement and then a retracting movement. So we're going to try to play with that a little bit today, as our vinyasa piece is just identifying the extension and the contraction. There's a couple rowers in the group, so they know if you come up forward to your stroke, your catch, you're lengthening actually through the lateral chains, and then you're contracting. So find your wall, if you have one. If you don't, you'll have to pretend, and play traffic hop. So feet together, finding the actions of the legs that we did on Wednesday, with the heels, the outer heels going apart slightly, toes, the big toes touching. And so that I've already fired up the zippers from my outer heel to my hips. I'm pressing into the wall, and I have the side plank. Breathe into this without tensing up in your throat, your belly, and experience this form. So if you were stuck in a closet somewhere, somehow you got locked in the closet during the party at Eve's house, then you could practice your yoga against the wall. And this is the same thing as if I were to go down and do a dramatic side plank. But here I'm not destroying my shoulder. And it'll allow us to come into practice today doing our pranayama in a sense of awesome. So here's what we're going to do. I've got my left side facing the wall. We're going to sashay. We're going to step our left foot halfway toward the wall. We're going to slide our left arm up the wall. Inhale. And let those right toes just anchor down. The heel floating off. Exhale. Come back to starting position. Inhale, step into the wall. Reach, lengthen through this lateral chain here. Exhale. Consolidate. So here we go. We're going to do our pranayama like this. 20 breaths. Inhale, step and reach. Lengthen all the way up the left lat. Exhale. Push into the wall. Feel the contraction of the lat. Stand the lat. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Keep going. Isn't this fun? Thank God you're on mute so that nobody can object. 10 more. feeling all the muscular actions. Do it with your eyes closed if you can. And keep pressure against the wall with the left hand. Keep pressure down in the left heel with the two directions of prana. You want to float this right leg off the ground? Go ahead. Two more. Inhale. Inhale, don't overstretch. Exhale. Drop your arm. Pause. The breath, pause. Close your eyes. Feel the sensations. Inhale. Hold. Exhale, release. And let's take a forward fold.
Drop down, or if you prefer to lean into the wall, I've done in the past, you can. Bend your knees, drop your head, hold opposite elbows. And then drop your hands down. Head is last, so you come rolling up with bent knees.
Switch sides. Right arm into the wall. Spread the fingers. Feet together. Inhale, we sashay. Right foot into the wall. Right hand up the wall. Inhale. Exhale. Feet consolidate. Inhale. Extend. Exhale. Retract. Think of the body almost like a giant pair of scissors moving on the lateral plane. Scissors opening, closing, and I'm giving you the option of floating the left leg off the ground as well. But most of your focus is in this right side. Extending and contracting. Use your breath to help you. Really send the breath up those back ribs, opening up any sleepy or stuck fascia. Don't overdo in the right shoulder. If you have issues there, don't overextend. Keep going. The quality of the breath dictate the range of motion. Two more. Inhale, slide up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And drop your arms. Pause. Feel the, if you can, the activation of that whole right side body. Then when you need to inhale, you do. Take a big inhale. Hold that. Exhale. Spill forward. Bent knees. Forward fold.
If you're holding opposite elbows in forward fold, you can feel those lateral chains being dragged from the triceps and the outer upper arm all the way down into the lats at the base of the spine. So the lat muscles go all the way toward the sacrum. Then you come up, heads last.
And now we're going to face the wall. So what did I mean by that? We're to just stay here for a second in Tadasana and grab our opposite elbows and then lift up to the sky with the upper arm bones, toning your legs as we've done in the preliminary exercise, and just try to pull your fingers against your elbows and let your elbows resist. Now you can feel the structure, the strength of the tricep connection, the outer arm down through the lat. and maybe deeper. So if we lean over to the right a little bit now, can you feel that left side all the way down to the root in the low back? Inhale to center and exhale. And because of gravity, as you release now, the shoulders, the arms tend to pull everything down. And so these lateral chains become deactivated. So now let's face the wall, and we're going to try to use our bilateral lengthening to chop our hands up the wall. So I'm going to leave it up to you what is preferable for you. You could start with the palms flat. I prefer the pinky fingers into the wall, so my palms face one another. As I inhale, I'm going to lift my heels off the ground. As I exhale, I'm going to drop down. This is it for our third round of pranayama. So here we go. It's very exciting. And both channels, left channels, are now lifting up as the heels lift. Inhale. Uddiyana Bandha is engaged. The transverse abdominals. Exhale. Sink. Inhale. Exhale. Keep going. Pretend that your breath or the air is not only being drawn through the nose or the mouth, but through the soles of the feet, up into the hip joints. Go fast or go slow, it doesn't matter. We're toning our feet. We're toning our core. Two more. Inhale, lift. Exhale. This time as you come down with the heels, bend your knees, let your hands be dragged, arms be dragged down into chair pose. Not very deep, and pause. Push into the wall, lift chest. Engage the outer heels. Inhale, straighten your legs. Crawl up the wall one last time, lifting your heels. Hold. You can look up. You can start to take a back bend, some of you. Exhale, release. Forward fold. This time, stepping back, bending your knees, dropping your head. And then if you can sashay into the wall. Some of you are brave enough and lay your head and upper back into the wall, lean into the wall. So you get a back rub. You can even lift your heels up and down and give yourself a nice little back rub. Scrubbing deeper down the back as your body warms up. And when you're ready to come up, keep your head down and just tiny steps, walk away from the wall, bend your knees, come up with a rounded spine. Okay, so let's do a little flow against the wall. We're going to place our palms now, both of them into the wall. Feet relatively close together, a little narrower than hip width. And we're going to take an inhale to lift the heels, look up, and push downward with the palms to open the chest, like an upward dog against the wall. And exhale, we're going to step our right foot back, slide our hands lower, and readjust that left foot so it's in a good position for warrior one. And we'll breathe here for 5 breaths. Strengthen the back leg, the right outer hip, Float the chest up. And then transferring the hands to the hips, and then reaching up high for warrior one. Gaze can be straight or up at the hands. One more inhale, then palms to wall, and step your, or drag your right foot to your left. That's side one. Inhale, lift the heels, look up, lift the chest, engage the muscles in the back body, back of legs, extensors. Exhale, come down, step back with your left foot. The left heel goes inward, and then just gently expanding into the wall, breathing down the back leg. Watch the collarbones and the shoulders and the position of the deltoid inside and out of this shoulder, both of these shoulders. A nice rainbow arch. Steady, strong breath, and building strength by just using a wall. Hands to hips. Inhale, arms to sky. And then exhale, palms to the wall. Step left foot to right. And release. Same thing, palms to wall. Elbows are bent. This is doing a Chaturanga Dandasana. So what is this? If we just lean into the wall, we tuck our elbows into our body, we tone our legs. This is what normally was done down on the ground. And right here. And that's fine if you want to eventually destroy your shoulder capsules. Be my guest, but otherwise, just scrubbing the hands down, drilling the heels down, lifting the chest, you're going to get some work and leaning into the wall. Inhale, lift the heels, look up. Exhale, heels come down, right foot goes back. Hands go to hips. So now you know the sequence. Arms go to sky. Exhale, palms to the wall, feet step together. And we'll just flow a little bit. Inhale, heels lift. Exhale, heels come down. Left foot back. Hands to hips. Inhale up. Exhale, palms to wall. Feet together. And just start to work. Inhale, heels lift. Exhale down, right foot back. By now, you don't need to look at me. You can just take cues. Arms to sky. Exhale, arms to wall. Right foot to left. Inhale, heels lift. This is our upward dog. Exhale, heels down. Left foot back, warrior one. Hands to hips, and then inhale to sky. Exhale, hands to wall, left foot to right. Lift your heels, engage the muscles in the back, like a potato chip. Exhale, heels down, right foot back. Hands to hips, warrior one. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, hands to wall. Feet together. One more. Inhale, lift the heels, lift the heart, baby the gaze. Exhale, heels and sacrum down. Step back with control, left heel in. Hands to hips and then sky, inhale. Hands to wall, left foot to right. Release, relax. Now let's do a wall dog, downward dog. Stepping the feet back, creating a right angle, and bending the knees enough with the hands at shoulder width, looking toward the wall like a ski jumper. And your two ski poles are really the wall, pushing down, and then you just drop your head within your arms, straighten and tone the legs, look down at the ground or at your big toes. If you need to keep your knees bent, do that.
Walk your hands further down the wall. And advanced folks who are worried it's not hard enough for you, you just start to sashay your hands further and further down the wall without losing the tone in the legs. Go. So this is for the few people I can just go all the way down to your down dog from the wall. And now I don't have any pressure in my shoulders because I've engaged the legs in such a way that the arms and the lateral channels are able to breathe.
So occasionally I just, as you know, throw in something a little advanced to challenge those folks that think the work is too easy. But the wall work gives you the connecting pieces to go to advanced poses safely. So let's go proceed onward toward triangle pose using our wall structure, pushing into the wall for plank pose. Again, this is a perfectly good plank if you want it to be working strength. And you're just leaning into the wall, your shoulders are nice rainbow deltoids. But let's step the feet in closer to the wall so the elbows can be a little bent. Lift up our heels, look up for our upward dog action. Exhale, heels down, right foot back to our warrior one. Hands to hips in reach. And then we're going to open up to warrior two so that we have the left hand against the wall. And we readjust the right foot to 90 degrees. You can take your right hand to your hip, try to lower that hip even with the left hip, and breathe. So you can lean into the wall a little bit and feel that if you were to do the Pledge of Allegiance to your left lat, feel that contraction and that strength that you're building here, and then unleash the right arm with equal engagement of the lat and the extensors in the back of the shoulders open the front of the chest. Inhale, straighten your front leg. You can return your right hand to your hip. And then just start to lean or tilt the hips in toward the wall slightly. And breathe. So say you were injured or you just want to play in a very voluminous way. If I expand out of my hip joints, my knee joints, like a starfish, my shoulder joint. Here's my Trikonasana. And I'm still feeling integrity through this whole wall side, left side. But it's quite nice. But of course, just as I did with the downward dog, I could go lower and lower, pressing into the wall with the left hand O. And making sure that the whole lateral chain, the underside left chain is still strong. Oh, I get to the foot. I get to the ground. Without losing integrity, which most people do. And then coming up out of that pose, wow, what a task that is for the lateral chain if you don't have the muscle. So as I often say, only go as deep down into the pose as you can stand getting back up. Let's go ahead and take our feet to parallel, left toes to right, hands to hips. Now we're just going to go side to side, bending one knee, bending the other. Then we'll take our hands and slide them down mid-quadricep, get into a goddess stance or horse stance, lean forward a little bit, push the palms down. The fingers are inward, the inner groins. Inhale and then exhale, rotate left. Inhale to center, rotate chest right. And as you do this, be mindful of your hips, that they're not getting torqued or twisted in the rotation of the chest. See if you can feel the root of the lat muscle down near the sacrum, the sacroiliac, the low back, as you do these rotations and effectively stretch a bit of that lat chain all the way down to the eye of the insertion of the lat. Okay, let's come up. Let's kick our heels out, hands to hips, inhale. Exhale, forward fold, hands to ground. Lift it flat back. And again, kicking your heels energetically out engages the lateral aspect of the legs. And then we can descend, walking your hands back, grabbing your ankles, and pulling the flesh of the ankles up. So this, as you take several breaths, is the same action on Monday I had you do when we were working, either Monday or Wednesday, I'm losing track of time. We were working with our straps. Safely come up from a flat back and find your straddle. I'm just going to show you what we had. Those that weren't here on Wednesday, we were pulling under our feet like this with the strap, getting those lateral chains. Okay, so that has to be in place when you start to really take the legs apart. Let's go back to the wall with our warrior two before we leave it on guard with the left hand into the wall and left toes pointing toward the wall, or reverse warrior. And here goes the same action we started class with, the extension of this left lat chain. Inhale. And on exhale, the contraction. It's like pulling down the shape of the lat, and I place the left forearm on that left knee, and here's my side ankle. You can use your right fingertips into the wall, and breathe. You want to play with this action, inhaling, lengthening, exhaling, contracting through that left chain. Just as we did initially. Inhale, we sashayed into the wall. Exhale, we step the feet together, which is not happening anymore, except energetically. As I come down, I want to feel like I'm dragging the left heel back toward the right heel, even though it's not moving. And that helps me prevent injuries. Feet to parallel, and then you can step, hop, or jump your feet together. Let's try the other side. First, standing to the wall, hands to wall, elbows bent, tucked in, inhale left. The heels with the gaze, ah. Exhale, heels down, left foot back. Palms to wall, warrior one. Hands to hips, reach the sky. And then you're going to pivot out to the left, find a warrior two with your right palm into the wall. Take your left hand to your hip and just lower that hip down, level with the right. And breathe. So feel the integrity, breathing, expanding into the wall. The feet are actively arching. All the work we did with the lifting heels to get the muscles of the feet on board. And then from here, inhale, straighten the front leg, and exhale, start to lean into your triangle pose. And your right hand can be a little bit higher than your right shoulder to start with. fortify the lateral chain in your standing back leg, your left leg. And then you can experiment. If you're feeling like you're able to expand out of the pose like a starfish, through the legs, through the hips, shoulders, then hey, then go ahead and take the hand lower and lower and lower. Without losing this integration. This is where the wall is wonderful to get that connection to the back leg. You can get to the floor, you get to the floor, good for you. But then you've got to get out of the ground. So be careful of how deep you dig your grave, so to speak. All right? We're going to take a forward fold, but first, hands to hips, and we sashay from one side to the other. I'm just going to turn to face you so I'm not being rude. And this movement can become skandasana if your knees haven't somehow gone by the wayside. You can start to drop down. Again, multi-level class. But be careful, if you go down, you've got to come back up. And then if you're really advanced, cross your arms and pretend you're in a martial arts movie. And you just go from hip to hip. Lateral chain, and the lateral chain now opening the interior adductor. So I'm just showing off, but to show you what's possible. When you come back, take your hands to your hips, forward fold, and then take your Prasarita Padottanasana. You can grab the heels, it's great to pull up and feel the zippering up of the outer heel to the outer hip. And that anchors you from the base of the lat, the low back, all the way up through the lats under the armpits. And you feel that wonderful V triangle in the back. Hands to earth, flat back, inhale. Little softness in the knees as you transfer your hands to your hips. Inhale, up you come. You can step or jump your feet together. Nobody's watching, but back in the day, it was a big hopping together of the feet. And then you just go jumping jack out and in. So remember jumping jacks? Like, sadly, used to watch these Jack LaLanne movies, films. Jumping jacks are a lateral chain exercise, which nobody does anymore. I never see people doing jumping jacks, but really, jumping jacks are the lateral scissors. And when you think of a sun salutation, which now we'll attempt without the wall, here are your scissors, with the arms reaching up, and then the scissors closing. Now the legs aren't jumping out, but as we noted earlier, the heels are micro moving and pressing out to fortify the lateral chains of the legs. So flap your wings and feel the scissors, feel the lats all the way down to the base of the spine and supporting the low back. So not letting it go into a huge back bend by virtue of having the outer heel action. It's a wonderful move. And then we fold forward. We're going to step our left foot back and stay with your fingertips on the ground, warrior one. And then bring the hands to the hips and bring the arms to the sky. So now if you found that coming off the ground from here is not good for your low back, that's why I did the wall sequence. And you can stay with the wall version. And then we take the hands to the hips. We step the back to the front and try the other side. Arms down, inhale, outer leg action, arms reach, scissors. Exhale, close the scissors. Right foot back. And you can stay here for a breath on your fingertips, engage that back leg, that right outer hip. And if you've got the strength there, your low back, no problem to pull up to the hips. If you don't, you have no business doing this. And you shouldn't. And then you reach up, inhale, exhale, hands to hips, and we step the feet together. Okay? Now let's do a chair pose. Inhale, knees bend, arms up, exhale, fold. Left foot back once again. Now instead of coming up to warrior one, we're going to stay on our fingertips and just lower our left knee down to the ground in low lunge. You can pad the left knee with a towel if you like, kick the toes out if you like. Both palms pressing on each other on the right knee. So just breathe here, sinking down, get a little stretch through that left hip flexor. And here we're going to come into triangle pose now. So we've done it against the wall from the ground, with a nice way of constructing, or vinyasaing means sequencing. Doesn't mean move fast, it means move well. And what do we do to consolidate and protect our low back? We take a little twist. We reach up with the left arm. We've already done all this work through the left lateral body, right? Can you let your left palm push toward an imaginary wall outside you and really extend from the outer left knee all the way up this zipper panel. And then rotate your chest to the left. And then lower that left arm outside the right knee. Push the back of the left hand into the right knee. Staying here, looking on the diagonal plane, finding this consolidation. Maybe taking the left hand back, maybe not. Maybe keep it in your low back. Your right low back for support. So this, which we covered months ago, this rotation of the hips slightly to the right, it's going to save us as we attempt to come into triangle pose now from the ground. So let's come down with the fingertips to the ground. Now, if you need a chair in front of you, you need yoga blocks, take them. Curl your left toes under, and then start to straighten the front leg. So we're folding over the right leg, Parshvottanasana, flat back to start with. And again, people that wouldn't need a chair, your hands are in the chair, the yoga blocks, and then folding to your ability. I like to work flat back here because it's so wonderful. In the same way the wall was to expand in all directions. Sure, I could touch my forehead to my shin and do all sorts of tricks. If you do have your fingertips on the ground or on blocks, let's revisit a little bit of that rotation to the right by sliding our left fingertips forward, our right fingertips back, and just a little spiral of the chest to the outside of that front foot. So the pattern of the hips clockwise is established. Now we'll take the right hand just outside the right foot or onto our yoga block, left hand to hip, and just move the mid back and rotate it in the opposite direction. Triangle pose from the ground up. The hips are still wanting to rotate clockwise, the chest counterclock. to this wonderful balance. Great. Hips rotating right, chest left, like wringing a washcloth. Okay, from here, you're either going to look down and step your back foot, your left foot to your right and forward fold, or advanced folks, bend the front knee, reach forward with the right fingers, lift the back heel, up you go to Ardha Chandrasana. Engaging the outer bank of the left leg. Seeing where you can go. Everybody forward fold. Bend your knees, shake your head. Let your spine unwind. And then up through chair pose when you're ready, bend your knees, bring your arms up, and stand. Let's do the other side. Again, I start with the wall. We get the structural connections. Then we go to a standard yoga class format. We're heading towards standard. But if you've got the connections in place, you're safe. Otherwise, you back off. Here we go with Utkatasana. Inhale. Still the outer heels are pushing out, channeling right up to the lateral stabilizers. Then I fold. And I step my right foot back. I sink into the bending left knee, or I'm up on yoga blocks. And then I begin to straighten the front leg, the left leg. And how about those hips, those outer hips? Are they engaged? And you take whatever props you need. If you're not super bendy, you're on yoga blocks, high blocks, you're on a chair with your hands. You're active in the legs. Don't let the legs be fallow, or else your low back suffers. If you need to take your head to your shin to feel good about the pose, be my guest. But don't crush your low back to get there. Okay, then we're gonna come out of this bending the front knee, setting the right knee down on the ground. You can pat it and come up for a low lunge. Hands to the front knee, palm on palm, we sink down. And even in a simple low lunge, a lot of people, I'm in the same camp, the lateral chains disengage, and it's actually hard for people to balance. If that's the case with you, get in touch with your outer hips and just right in that little divot with the upper leg bone, the femur comes into the socket. Put on your magic girdle. Got my bike shorts on so it helps. And suck those bones into the socket, right? Use the muscles to support the bones. Now what do? We hoist up that right arm, we palm pushing away like we're in the wall, and we breathe up that entire right channel. Exhale, come across the body, back of right hand to left knee. Left hand can slide back to left hip and keep it low. Take a twist if you want without disrupting the symmetry of the hips. And then you're gonna either put your hands on your chair if you're using a chair, or hands to the ground. Curl back toes under. Once again, straighten the front leg. And let's just take that rotation like a breakdancer move. If you've got the ability, right hand forward, left hand back, looking to the left front corner of the mat, just to get the hips rotating counterclock. Then the left hand goes outside the left foot, right hand to the hip. Still rotating hips to the left, and then chest goes right.
Don't let the reaching of the upper arm, the right arm, unwind the hips, unwind the coiling, the rotation of the hips, counterclock or left. Okay, right hand to hip, look down, bend your front knees. You need to just step your feet together or take a little hop up into half moon. And really zip up outer hips to heel. Extend through inner leg. Extend from crown of spine to tailbone. Should feel the same as if you were against the wall, doing triangle against the wall. And then we take the feet together, forward fold. Take your feet out like a duck. Sit down in your squat, your malasana, to give your low back some integrity if you've got slightly out of skew, which is the danger of the lateral asymmetrical position. So hopefully all of that really made sense. We're going to sit down and finish off practice. But even the coup de grace, the Ardha Chandrasana that some of you did, was really no different than the wall triangle movement. So when you've got the wall triangle movement, you're in a sense still getting the same chain as the Ardha Chandrasana, right? Play around with it. I'll record this one. So let's finish off Paschimottanasana, legs forward, palms by the hips. Again, this outer hip line and the chest lifting, with the palms pushing down, the shoulders gently rolling back. Inhale, reach high, exhale, grab a strap, grab the tops of the feet. You can certainly bend your knees a little bit, and then lift against your binds. Inhale, come up. So take a peek, and there's some new students who haven't had the pleasure of seeing me do the Michael Jackson moonwalk on my sitting bones. This is worth the price of admission, and also will help you do a forward fold better. So if I lean over to one side, lean over to the other, like the US bobsledding teams, and I can have my fingertips here, can you do that sort of thing? Now if I were to lean over to the right and then sweep, drag my left sitting bone, left bone back, and set it behind the inch, and I lean over to that one, the left, and I drag the right sitting bone back, I'm able to then walk my butt. Now, no hands, ma, back and back. And what am I doing? But just pulling on the ripcord of the lateral chain, the outer leg. It's a very useful skill at parties to be able to show off your advanced yoga. And then having pulled back on these cords, look how much further forward I can go into forward fold. Aha. Very fun. And then move your hips forward. Take your fingers out to the sides. Take a reverse table. Same thing. We did this on, I can't remember, Monday or Wednesday, but we had even a strap around the upper shins to get that outer action of the legs. And you'll see people cheat in back bends by actually taking and winging their knees apart. The classic is in wheel pose, and the knees are way out. And unfortunately, what that does is it compresses the sacroiliac joints.
So you do want energetically to move apart like this with the knees, but you don't actually literally want most people's bodies, and Lee, you might be the exception if you're here today, to stray from parallel. So we find that action of moving the knees apart without actually doing it, and then lift the hips, lift the heart. Keep the chin tucked unless you've got a lot of back bending ability. And if you were to drop the head back, then leave it for last, coming back up. Let's do a wall plow pose to finish. And the wall, we have the wall. A wall viparina karani, legs up the wall. So we'll take towel roll, take a peek. This used to be Hillary's favorite, so if she's here, she'll be ready to go. Watch if you haven't done it. What you're going to do is to take your legs back to the wall, but to get there, we'll come up to bridge and take the towel roll under the low back. And then hug your knees into your body. So everybody can do this, right? And now you're getting a nice massage across your kidneys, your low back. You can even roll around. You can probably guess that Eve is now massaging your low back, or happy babying the low back. But others can now extend their toes to the wall, keeping the knees a little bit bent to start with. Don't look at your monitor anymore. Once you've seen what I've done, I don't want your head to be off center. And now I've got a towel roll up in my low back, still purchasing. And I'm just working a forward fold in a different plane of travel. Feeling these outer legs that we worked on. I can even give them a scrub with my hands. The IT band, the anterior tibialis. I'm just going to give them a little bit of love here. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to take one leg off the wall, the other leg off the wall, straight up to the sky. And I've got the towel roll and the small of my back, viparina karani. Feels good? The legs are now, they don't have any gravitational compression, or less so anyway. And then hugging your knees again, and you can bring the feet together for your Baddha Konasana on your back body, holding your big toes, holding your knife edges of your feet as the soles of the feet are together. Here's that action I was mentioning with the knees apart, which in a back bend can create havoc in the sacroiliac joints. You can even straddle your legs straight out to the sides. That feels good on your low back. And then coming back to the knees together, feet to floor. Lift your out of your bridge pose to get the towel roll. From your back, slide one leg, the other leg long, shavasana. Give the limbs a shake. Give them a rotational shake. And you're welcome to sit in shavasana for a number of minutes. But in an effort to get the 9 o'clockers off and running, I'll close off our class in Sukhasana. And just check it out whenever you come to seated, if you're coming with me now, that the actions of the lateral chain set up a good seat, the outer hips up through the underarms. And breathe into that structure. When you're ready, palms to heart, namaste. Hopefully fun and useful class for you. And